Recently, I've noticed there are videos out there saying that you should strip one half of the hackle off of your feather to make nicer looking flies. Let's see if we should do that or not. First, I wanted to look at Palmered hackle. What's the difference when you strip it or you don't strip it? As you can see on this side here, the Palmered hackle with barbs on both sides of the feather is pretty messy looking. And on the right side, with barbs stripped off of just the inner side of the hackle, it's a lot nicer looking. And it's just quite obvious that you've lost half of your barbs that are coming out. So how do things look when you tie a dry fly? And I call this a stacked hackle because the stems are touching turns. Well, the one on the left where we did not strip the feather, in the middle it's a lot more fuller. And that, I believe, is because some of the inside hackle on the feather gets stuck under the stem and doesn't pop out right away. Thus, it's a little shorter, so you have more hackle in the middle rather than out at the edge. And you can see the one on the right where we did strip the stem, it is a lot nicer looking. I did want to point out one thing, that if you strip it rather than cut it, you get a flatter side on the stem, and while you're wrapping the hackle, it tends to stay aligned without rotating because that flat edge wants to stay next to the hook shank. Well, I've always wondered what happens to these barbs that are on the inside of the hook shank. So I made a test setup and I removed the outside barbs and kept the inside ones, and then rotated around the hook shank, and then took a video from the tip of the hook perspective. I thought this was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting a result like this for the hackle to come out in such a clean manner. This was a big surprise to me, and it's pretty neat. Now, this is an ideal case where there isn't any other thing out there that will interfere with how the hackle is coming out. There's no adjacent stems, there's no opposing hackle, and it's all in one plane slowly going around the hook. When you start out running tests like this, you always say, okay, I'm going to find out one method is better than the other. And in this case, it all depends. What do you want? You know, how do you want your fly to perform, and what do you want your fly to look like? And I think what I found out is it depends. For tiny flies, when you just have a few wraps, you probably want to keep the a hackle on both sides of the feather. On other flies, like maybe a woollyburger, you don't want that many hackle tips coming out, so you may want to take the barbs off one side of the hook. So play around with it, see what best works for your different flies you are tying.